Hey gamers, welcome to another video. I just finished Clear Obscure Expedition 33, and I have a lot of thoughts about this game. It is a really good RPG. I have really enjoyed this game from start to finish, but I just have some thoughts about it. With the gameplay, I will just say that it is a skill issue. Like I will admit that a lot of my gripes I have with the game, it is out of my own ineptitude of the game, basically. It's like my own faults are my issue with this game. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the game itself. I just think that there is some stuff that I quite don't understand the choice, right? Uh, the game gives you the option to either evade or parry, and I never really evaded because I didn't see the point. When parrying, you are able to inflict damage on the enemy and gain an action point. I kind of saw no reason not to parry in the game at all. And this becomes a problem, I feel like in the middle of the game to the end, because the beginning everything is very easy to parry. Like it's very easy to learn to parry the moves and all this. But as the game goes on, enemies start having these overly animated windups, and it just becomes more of an issue of learning the timing. And I just couldn't couldn't tolerate it anymore. Like some of these moves, it's just like you're sitting there and you're just watching a movie play, and then you have to like wake up to parry. It's like I don't want to sit through this. I feel like if the game gave you a guard button, it would be a little bit different because maybe the guard, you just don't gain an action point, but you're able to withstand the attack better. And then the parry does what it does. Like at least give the player that kind of option, because with this it's like, yeah, you can either not parry and get hit, or evading. I don't think you even gain anything for dodging, honestly. And then the parry, you can attack the enemy and gain an AP point. So it's like, what are you gonna do, right? You're gonna parry more often than not. And it just became kind of frustrating when I feel like it's very easy to be underleveled in this game because of how good the parry is. Because I got through a lot of fights simply because of parrying. But when it came to like harder matches and harder encounters, it was just like, yeah, I don't have the experience for this. And the parrying is really good, but these attacks are very ridiculous. Like it was just a very weird spot that I kind of appreciate that the game allows you to really kind of experience the game however you want. Like it gives you a really like wide option on how to play it. Like you can either try to over level, you can try to play it like normally, or if you're just a parry freak, you can just kind of go through the game at the bare minimum basically. So I do like that there is a lot of reward for doing a lot of risk. It's just for me, I wasn't looking for that. I just happened to do that at the very early part of the game. And it's like, okay, like, and I wasn't even severely under level. Like, I would look up, like, what is the recommended level? And I would be like, maybe at most, like, one level below the recommended level. Like, let's say the recommended level would be like 50 to 55. I'd be 49. So it's like, I wouldn't be severely under leveled in that regard. Uh, Maybe my backup team would be, but not like the main team I use. So it's whatever. I have no real issues other than like I kind of wish there was a just a guard option than, hey, just learn the parry, because I feel like if I could guard, I can actually like feel the timing a little bit better than like, oh, okay, I need to like just take a few hits and then restart the combat. I also wish, like, I know they patched the game like a few weeks after launch to add a retry battle, which was really good. It was a really good addition. I just wish it used the same mechanic Metaphor had. Metaphor had a button where you could just reset the battle. And it's like, that is so much better than having to just do a match and then just eat it and then hope for either the best or just wait until you die. I kind of hated that because there was a lot of matches where it's like, oh, I fucked up. I need to restart the battle. Oh, I have to wait until like my other two party members die, and then the game will give me the option. Like I just wish there was a button in the combat that said restart battle or something, because it just got really annoying at times. Uh, the other thing was I'm kind of whatever on this to be honest. Uh, I kind of wish you had more options for items. You only had the healing, the revive, and then gain an AP items. As far as I'm to understand, maybe there were more items. I don't know, but those were the only major like resource items that I had, and it's like I wish I could get more items in this game. Uh, like I wish there was something else like that added to that than just having to just get good basically. Like Clear Obscure does have the philosophy of get good a lot, and I think that is like kind of nice because it keeps you engaged with what the game is asking you. I did need my friend to remind me how the Luminas works because I totally forgot that you equip a Pictos and if you do like 4 encounters, that becomes like a Lumina that you can equip for other party members. I totally forgot about that, and I was like, okay, and then I started doing that more often with other Pictos and all that. So I like the Lumina and Picto mechanics. I like the upgrade mechanics, but I did say this when the game was coming out. I was a little like fatigued on skill trees. This game kind of has that. However, the more I played it, the more I was like, this isn't as bad as I thought. Like I thought it would be more generic, but I did kind of like you can kind of go through a certain path and you'll eventually just fill out all of them. My only real issue is when you got like Verso on your team. I kind of found a lot of his skills to be kind of a lot of them were like weak damage, and it's like this took like 8 skill points to unlock, and it's doing like medium damage. Like that seems kind of weird. Uh, I don't know. Like it just seemed very odd to me. But on the flip side, I like that a lot of the party members have very unique gameplay mechanics. They're all very different, and they all have very unique learning curves. Some of them I kind of didn't understand. Like I didn't really care for Luna, whatever her whole stain mechanic. I kind of forgot it halfway through, to be completely honest. But the one where I just kind of clocked out and I was like, I don't care, and I did the tutorial of was Ciel's or CL, whatever. Her whole mechanic, I honestly don't remember how it works, and it's like I just benched her because I didn't understand it. It's like I know there's like a light and shadow like card mechanic she has. I just didn't care. Meanwhile, you have like Monaco's, which is like, okay, after each battle with him, he gains a skill from the enemy. I like the idea, but again, by that point when CL and Monaco was added to the team, I kind of benched them and didn't use them. I really just kept Verso, uh, Mael, and Luna, whatever. That was like my main party for the entire game. And I've seen a lot of people with Mael and Verso in their team by like middle to halfway through the game, basically. So I kind of feel a lot of the characters you're just gonna bench just either out of I don't care for this mechanic, this is too much, or I don't want to deal with it. Because I feel like with Monaco's, it's very specific, and you really have to kind of go around to get as many of the other enemy skills as possible to really see the use of that. I kind of didn't care about the beast wheel he had either. It's like I don't know, whatever. So I just kind of shifted back to just Verso, Mael, and Luna. But I do appreciate that this game gives you such a wide variety of characters. Like I wouldn't ask for them to remove that level of uniqueness with each party member, but I kind of don't know what would be the sweet spot. Like what would it be better for like characters like Monaco and Sael to be early game characters and then have like the easier to understand characters near the end? Like, I kind of don't know what would have been the answer. I think the game is paced well enough where I don't think you're gonna run to the problem of, oh, by the time that these characters are added, you're not gonna have enough time to learn them. Like, you do have a good chunk of the game when they're even in your party. Like, you don't really gain any other party members by that point. So it's not wholly bad. And Verso plays so much like Gustav that it's like, you don't really feel like you're missing a beat with anything. So the gameplay is solid. I just wish there was a guard button. The environments are really nice. I did run into this one issue. By the end of the game, I kind of wanted to grind a little bit more because I looked at the recommended level for the end game of Act 3 and it was like 50 to 55 or maybe 50 to 60, something like that. And I was like in the 50s at that point. So it's like, okay, I just want to boost my party a little bit more. And I was thinking, oh, I should go fight the mimes. Like, I didn't fight them at all. I would always avoid them because they're really hard. And now I can just go back and fight all of them. I couldn't remember where the first mime was. Like, I ran into a lot of them on my first run in all these locations, but I couldn't remember where all of them were when I needed to. So it just became like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to like spend time. I just want to beat the game. Like, I just really want to see how the story ends. So I did lower the difficulty of the story, and this kind of ran into another issue I have. Uh, I would not say there's an easy mode. Story is literally story difficulty, and then you have like expedition, which is normal, and then you have like hard. Uh, I don't like games that if you lower the difficulty, it's like baby mode, or you go to normal and you may not even be ready for or whatever. Like, I wouldn't ask for them to make normal any easier. I think normal is well balanced. Like, I'm not arguing that normal is not balanced or anything, but I did feel the need to lower the difficulty, and I was greeted with like baby mode. Like, I never even needed to parry, and there was no punishment. Like, they were dealing joke damage. Like, oh, this big wind up attack, 5 damage, and it's like, really, like, I didn't want this, but I also just didn't want like whatever normal was, like it just it really just felt like when I lowered it to story, it was just, yeah, I'm playing for the story at that point, and it's like, it's a bummer. The saving grace for me is that this would be a game I would go back to and play, so it's not like I'm opposed to trying to play the game and not lower the difficulty at all, or maybe even bump it to hard and try that, right? But it's just, I don't like lowering the story, and it's like, yeah, I just wish there was another difficulty, I guess, that's like in between, because this seems way too easy than what I was looking for. Like, I did want at least some issue or some risk, but it was just like, yeah, either play with like soft glove, like with like baby gloves, or play with like, normal equipment. And it's like, there's you can't make another like third option that's like in between. Like, it was just really weird, and I just didn't like that. It was such a stark decrease. So I do wish if they do another RPG, they at least like add a difficulty that's in between story and normal. I think that, like, there's nothing wrong with easy. Like, like, story is story, then have easy, then have normal. Like, and then have hard, obviously. But it's like, it was just really weird. It's like, I can't find a difficulty that fits what I'm looking for. But yeah, when I was trying to grind, I kind of ran into this one issue where I could not remember a good area to go to grind, because all the areas uh seemingly like flow together pretty easily. So everything kind of was a blur to me. Like, I didn't remember what any of the locations were called, except for like Celine or Serene or whatever, the one with the dancing masks. But other than that, like, everything else I couldn't remember. And I kind of wish that, unless I was too dumb, but I wish you could at least go to a fast travel like menu and go to all the areas you want to go to, and it was in order of like progression or whatever, right? But you can't do that. You could do that when you go to the certain area and you can fast travel to that throughout that specific area, but you can't do a wider fast travel, which I kind of wish you could do, but maybe I was too dumb and I didn't see a button that does that. But that was like my only issue. I didn't. The overall was kind of nice, but I also again like I kind of lost track of where everything was by the end. So it was just it made grinding a little bit more like of a patience game, and you could argue I could just grind in the final area, but it was just I wanted to do other things. I just didn't want to stay in the same area. And as much as I love the soundtrack, this is gonna sound silly, but I thought the music in the final area was like insanely too epic. Like it was too bombastic where it was just like, if I wanted to grind there, it like if I was going to the area normally and just playing it normally, that's one thing, but it's like I'm going to be grinding for like hours. I don't want to listen to like this bombastic music blaring in my ears. It was just like there was not a good balance there when it comes to that. It was really weird. Like I don't know how to describe it. Like because again, it's good music for where the game is thematically, story wise, whatever. But it was just if I want to grind, I would not want to listen to this music. Like it would just drive me insane. It's very much like not exactly the same. So bear with me, but it's like when you're in the casino level in Persona 5. I like Whims of Fate, it's a great song, but my god, that is a terrible dungeon song. It's a 2-minute song that it's gonna be looping forever. It's like, yeah, this is gonna like be worn to the ground before you could like think about it. Like it's that kind of like situation where this is good music, but not good for this one specific situation that you're gonna be doing in RPGs. So it was very challenging for me to like sit through that half the time. But as I said, like a lot of my issues are skill issues. Again, this isn't like oh the game is bad because of this. It's just this is my issue with it, and I kind of wish there was like a little bit more to the game that I can at least like tolerate with, right? Uh, I didn't feel the parry was optional. It felt very much like, hey, if you're not parrying, you're not playing the game correctly. Like parrying is like the most rewarding thing you could do in that game. And it's worth learning than the dodge. Like I don't think you get much of anything dodging. I think it's way better to parry than anything else. Uh, I think that's as much as I can think about the gameplay. Uh, because yeah, like the animations that enemies have by like when you go further into the game, they're way too long-winded, and it's like I kind of don't want to sit through a movie. It's like you're playing a fighting game, and the opponent hits you with a super, and you have to sit there and watch a whole ass cutscene play before you can even move again. And that's what it felt like. It's like I have to watch a character fly around the stage and like spin around and then like talk to another character and then decide to like flail his arms a bit and then do an attack. It's like I don't want to sit through like a minute of a move. Like it just didn't seem that was well balanced, and it was really odd. There was even like buffs that a character would do that looked like an attack, and it's like you know it's really odd in that kind of way. Like some moves that have that kind of like long-winded animation was hard to read, and that's why I feel like a blocking would at least allow a easier time to read these moves and learn these moves than doing it by dying and retrying the battle and then waiting for the opponent to do that move again. Like it was just very like it wore me down a lot. Like it was just like it got to the point where it's like I don't want to do this anymore. It got really exhausting, and it got to the point where you know I don't mind bosses having multiple phases. I can kind of like stomach it pretty well, and some of it is really great. For some reason, I really don't know if I'm the only one who feels this, but this was the only game I've ever played where when a boss does a second phase, I just kind of like I just want to finish. I did that entire fight. I don't want to do another phase. Just move it. And the thing that kind of made it even worse was you don't regain any of your resources, so whatever magic you've spent or health that's lost, that's that carries over. Uh and that's not necessarily bad because it's very easy to heal in the game, but it just felt like it was like some fights felt a little too brutal and too long-winded when it came to that. Like again, I wouldn't really necessarily blame the game for that because a boss having second phases or more than one phase isn't like crazy or has never been done before. And I wouldn't even say, oh, there should be a checkpoint between the phases. Like, it's just, I don't know why. But it's just, this game did the second phase, and it's just like, I just lost patience about it. Like, I don't know. And part of me just, I do think it is the over animation on enemy attacks. I do think that does play a role. Like, it just seemed a little too ridiculous to have enemies do these big cinematic moves. Like, it really got to the point where I was like, is this even good? Like, you play like Persona, SMT, Pokemon, and you're not sitting through a cutscene to get to a move. And this also expects you to like be on the edge of your seat to parry. On top of that, it's like I don't think this is a good solution to this or a good situation to have. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the over animating of attacks. Like I feel very like torn on that. Uh, and I think to a degree that could be a flaw in the game, but I think it works for some boss fights to be completely fair. But when I saw like trash mob enemies do this, it's like no, this should be reserved for bosses at least. This should be a boss thing. Don't have like stupid enemies that you just see flailing around the area. Like there was one enemy I thought that was like a mini boss or a boss. I sat through it, I fought it, I go to a flag and it respawned. I was like, oh, that's not a mini boss or whatever. That's a fucking enemy that has these crazy cinematic moves. Like whatever. I mean, it's not the end of the world, and it doesn't like detract the game a lot. But it was just something I just kept thinking about. It's like why is this like this, right? But let's talk about the story, because I feel that there is some division with this story, and I did ultimately like it. But I will say I did have to look up some stuff. I did have to because I kind of forgot the gomage, like the whole point. Like I kind of was like thinking like, wait, so yeah, the years go down, count down, and then like things get deleted. Is there a reason? Do they ever explain why that is? And I kind of was like, I need to look this up because I kind of want to at least know what these things are if I want to talk about the story. So I looked at it. I looked it up, and I was like, okay, that's why it's like counting down because Renoir. I'm gonna butcher names. Is actively trying to erase the canvas, and the paintress is trying to like protect the canvas. So she's like showing this is how I'm like protecting you guys from all this stuff, and this is how like the age that's gonna be protected, or whatever. The characters in the canvas thought that the paintress was the villain, and that's what they were trying to like stop her because they thought that she was the reason, and they find out that she isn't. I kind of liked that a lot more. I liked a lot of the stuff that was going on, like the importance of the canvas, what this is, and then like you see the other side of the canvas. You see like Mael's true identity, that she's like, I keep switching between Alina and Alicia, but I think Alicia was the mom and Alina was the daughter. I can't remember. I'm just gonna call Mael, by the way. But you find out her true identity, and you understand like that this whole canvas exists because Verso, the real Verso, died in a fire that Mael blames herself for. Like she is like going through a lot of self guilt, and her parents or her dad at least is trying to like tell her, look, it's gonna get better. You just have to like accept what happened, and nobody blames you. Like it, things happen. You can like get through this, whatever. I like that it focuses on this massive grief that Mael and the mom was feeling, and Mael is trying to like get her mom out of the painting because she was gonna die in that painting, but Mael wants to protect the canvas all the same. And she was trying to convince Renoir, her dad, that like, oh, I'll leave. Don't worry. I mean, I'll just come and visit, do whatever. Like, all good. Like, we'll make sure that that mom won't do this again or whatever. So I like a lot of that aspect to it, and I like that Verso was self-aware that he knows that he's not the real Verso, but he's like he knows why he exists. He's like, yeah, I know I'm like a fake Verso, and I know like what he means for you guys, but like he wanted to end his existence because he didn't want to live this life. I like all of this stuff. However, what you know, I like the story. I like the two endings because it feels a lot like Nier, where no matter what ending you pick, there's no true happy ending. There's always some level of sorrow and depression with each ending. Like there's really no ending that's like, oh, and everyone was happy and everything is great, like or anything like that. There's always some level of sadness. And that is true for this. However, it's like I kind of don't know what to think about this, right? So you're given two endings. You get to choose between Mael's ending or Verso's ending. And I kind of have a hard time kind of thinking that Mael was in the wrong. I know what they're going for because she's choosing to live in this fantasy world that's not real and she's gonna die there. Like this isn't like healthy necessarily, and it's not fair for the creation like Verso to be put through this never-ending misery of being a puppet basically. I get what they're going for, but Mael has a very good point. She has no real life if she lives in reality. Like she can't talk, at all, and she's like disfigured. The best that she could hope for is that she's a successful painter or something, and she doesn't really have to interact with other people and all this other stuff. But it is a harder life that she has, and she understands that. Like she understands, like, look, if I leave this painting, I there really is nothing I can like live to. Like, what kind of life will I have? She talks about the immense grief that she has and depression over the death of Verso, but it's like she doesn't really have anything to go for, and the game kind of shows you that. I guess you could argue that there's some level of optimism that she could have a life, and I kind of don't know how true that is. Like that is a level of optimism the game ends on if you pick the Verso ending, but I just can't help but think like is would this be that bad? Because you also remember that a lot of these creations in the canvas are just that creations. They're just paintings. The only one you really do feel for, I'd argue, would be Verso, because he's the only one that doesn't really get a say. And I was thinking, like, what is to stop them from making another canvas that doesn't have Verso? Like, and I guess that is the question. Like, would she be willing to live in a canvas that doesn't have that, right? Or any of these remnants of Verso? Like, it does have good philosophical points, but it just made me think about that a little bit more. And I do kind of feel that is the point. I just don't know how serious you could kind of take it, right? Because it's like, yeah, these things are just paintings. Like you understand that Verso isn't like real. Like, I mean, how much do you care for that over Mael's suffering, right? You're kind of measuring like what is like which suffering is greater almost. It's kind of unique in that way, and I kind of like that this game gives you an ending that I don't think anybody would argue which is canon. Like you're not. It's not like playing Metal Gear Solid 1. You're like, is the Meryl ending canon? Is the Otacon ending canon? Which one's canon? Meanwhile, with this, it's like that's not even the point. Like you really get to think about like what is the true ending for yourself and for Mael? Like, what do you think is right? You know, do you care for Verso suffering? Do you care about Mael suffering? Like, which one do you think? Because I do think, like, you know, with Verso's ending, you could say that Mael has does have more of an opportunity to get a life, but or to have a chance at a better life, but it's just that is a level of optimism that I don't think is easy for her position in that ending. Like it's very hard to really kind of justify either ending. And I think that is what's unique. Like I the more like this is why I feel so divided and polarized by it. Like I can't really like because I don't hate it. I don't think it's bad because the fact that there's this level of back and forth, I think, is what makes it really powerful and memorable. So it's just I wish there was something more that would push it more. Like I just feel like that with Mael there is a degree of something missing that makes it even more like ooh I don't know because I do think it's I would say it's easier to argue Mael's ending is it would be better for her. I think that would be an easier ending to justify. And I kind of wish there was a little more of like division with that. Like I kind of wish there was more of like more punch to that. Like I would like to see a little bit more of like of a danger with that because you could argue like, well, yeah, well, she's gonna die in that camera. She's losing her identity by doing that. But it's like yeah, what if this is like her like, you know, her choice, right? I mean, it's very weird. And I kind of wish that there was something else that would just kind of push it a little bit more to make it a little bit more powerful. The way it is it's good. I do think that it makes you think the right things. Like I do think that a lot of people's impressions or thoughts about the ending is intended. I do feel that even the people who don't like the ending is very much the point. Like I do think that all this is like part of that. Uh so I do really like it that it kind of like shifts into that. The turn on like Gustav or Gustav dies. I didn't expect that to happen. Like that came out of nowhere. So that was surprising. I was like, holy shit, Gustav died? Holy fuck. That's crazy. Uh I did also find myself asking, but what are these paintings, right? Like they kind of make it a point that this is like Verso's canvas, and this is a very important canvas. But it's like it made me wonder about these other characters in their lives and all this other stuff. Then they decided to go on this expedition to the painters. Like it makes me really just wonder what this painting initially was and how far did these paintings go. Like, was it a collection of paintings? Is that what this canvas represents, or is it just this one painting? I assume it's like multiple paintings that's all in like Verso's like repertoire of paintings that he has made, his whole portfolio, if you will. So I kind of was wondering more about this as well. Like there's some stuff like that I didn't know that if that maybe I wasn't paying attention or I just forgot because like there were long stretches of time where I dropped the game to go back to eventually. But I do think that the story's interesting. I like the theme and metaphor and visualization of escaping to a fantasy, and I think that really encapsulates that very well. And it plays with that expectation because they don't really tell you that at the beginning. Like I do think when you first start, it's like this is a very weird world. Like what's going on? Like you don't know if this is like an abstract thing or if this is something that is like a reality that this is happening to, like Death Stranding, for example, where you see this weird world of like BTs and this and that, but you don't know if this is like, is this actually happening? Are the beaches real places or whatever? And then you look at Clear Obscure, and it's like it plays with that expectation more and more, and then when the game like shows you what it is, it's like, oh, okay, that is kind of clever. Like I think there's a lot of like smart ideas that are going on with this game that seem very David Lynch like in a way. So I really appreciate the just general abstraction that it takes and just how weird and odd it'll take you. So I do appreciate a lot of this stuff, even if there are some plot holes that you could find. I think I would much rather have that than some straightforward story. So the story is very strong, the music is great, everything about this game is a solid package. And it's funny, everyone is talking about Silksong being $20 and how crazy that is. This game was $50 and maybe even 40 because I think like PlayStation Plus put it on like sale on discount as well, so it was even cheaper, I think. And I think that's kind of crazy. Like, this wasn't a $70 game, and it could have easily been a $70 game, in my opinion, but it was like $40, $50 game. That I think is kind of crazy. I know some people are debating the claim that this is an indie game, because I think it got published by a publishing company, so it's like, does that make it indie? I don't know, but I do think it's a very solid game. I I don't know. I will say I don't know if it deserves the sweep it's gonna get at the VGAs, because I talked about this in my Game of the Year awards, and I think I talked about it in my Hades 2 video. But I kind of liked Hades 2 a little bit more. Like, I liked Clear Obscure, but again, Hades 2 like really gripped me, and it got me playing over like a lot. Like I played that game a lot. I even rewinded the story to just play the game again. Like that's how solid Hades 2 is for me. So I don't necessarily think I like Clear Obscure anymore. I think, you know, soundtrack, as I said, that goes to Hades 2. The soundtrack in Hades 2 is really good. I kind of can't take people seriously if they say anything else. But the music in Clear Obscure is good too. So I wouldn't it wouldn't be an upset for Clear Obscure to win soundtrack. I think Hades 2 does a better job at the soundtrack. Art direction, I think Clear Obscure is the best for that. Like the art direction of Hades 2 is very like typical. Like it's what you'd expect, and it's like really good. But I think Clear Obscure is like way better because it it's so bold with how weird and like abstract the enemies are, where you don't even know if an NPC is an enemy or not. Like I really do like that the design of everything. So I think that should win for the art. Uh and I do think it's the best RPG. I don't know if the VGs have best RPG of the year, but I think Clear Obscure is definitely that. I just don't think it's game of the year for me because it made me wish that it had other things in it. Well, Hades 2, it's like I don't really have anything to say about the gameplay. I think the gameplay is great. The story is solid. Like I think narrative, I would give it to Clear Obscure. I think any award regarding story should go to Clear Obscure. The story for Hades 2 is good. It's good enough. I liked it overall. There are just some small issues that's like I wish this was a little bit better, but it was serviceable and enjoyable for an indie game. But Clear Obscure I think has a better story. So that is my general feel about Clear Obscure. I think it's worth the praise it got. I don't know to the extent that it has been getting, but I do think it's worth playing. If you like RPGs, if you like a good story, I think Clear Obscure is definitely all of that. It's a good package, uh, and it's a very skill based game. Like again, my issues I had with the gameplay is purely my own lack of like skill in some cases. So I do think that this game actually does feel like a decent measure of skill. Like, you play SMT, you play Persona, and a lot of the combat does feel random and RNG. Like, it's like, okay, like, I don't know if this is gonna miss or not. Like, it could miss, and that's gonna go my way easily. Like metaphor. But there isn't as much of a random factor with Clear Obscure. it is a purely skill-based RPG, and that I do think is really interesting, and I do kind of like it simply for that. But we will see where this goes. I hope for more success from the studio, because I think this is a very good first game for a studio that just got formed. So I do look forward to see what their next project's gonna be, because I think this is a very good sign that these people at least know what they're doing. As far as like how to reward skill, like again, my issue is my own skill. I do wish there was a different difficulty setting than story or normal. I just wish there was one between that at least. But it's still a solid game. I would go back to it eventually over time, but man, that's a good game. It's a really good game. I enjoyed it. If you're asking for a score, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I went there. Very, very controversial, right? But that's my opinion. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the little thoughts on Clear Obscure. Solid game. Check it out. It's on every single thing except for the Switch 2. Uh, but that may change maybe someday, but it's not. But see you guys in the next video. Bye.